Hi everyone, Dan here with No Games for Old Men with a video about the Titan Quest II playtest, which was made available on Steam yesterday, March 12th. Head over to the Titan Quest II store page on Steam to request access to join the playtest. I'll also leave a link in the description below. So first impression, the game looks great. The visual style is the same as Titan Quest I, but with significant improvements that one would expect from the sequel of a game that's nearly 20 years old. I have played the Titan Quest II playtest for about 3 hours so far, and during that time, I've been pleased by the art, character models, special effects, and environmental details. I mean, look at this line of ants. You can see some of them are carrying breadcrumbs in their tiny mandibles. Come on! If you played the original Titan Quest, this game will feel familiar. At least it did to me. It's been a while since I played an action RPG, so using the keyboard demanded some recall of long dormant muscle memory. You can remap the keyboard inputs, which I might try for a second playthrough because the default controls were uncomfortable for me. I also tried the game with a controller. The Steam page says the game was not designed with controller support, but my controller worked as expected. The only problem I had was that the inputs did not make a whole lot of sense to me, and I wasn't able to rebind them like I could with the keyboard inputs. This game is a work in progress, however, so maybe that's something they will implement for the final release. We will just have to wait and see. So what is character progression and gear like? Character progression is made up of two core features, attributes and mastery. As is typical with this type of game, you earn experience points for completing quest objectives and defeating enemies. Earn enough experience points and your character levels up, which grants them a number of attribute points which you can then spend on 4 core attributes: agility, knowledge, might, and vigor. Developing each of these core attributes also has an effect on 3 secondary attributes: cunning, fitness, and resolve. A point into vigor affects all 3 of these secondary attributes, while a point into one of the other 3 core attributes will only boost the 2 secondary attributes adjacent to them on the attributes grid. Simple enough, but keep in mind that the gear you find comes with attribute requirements to use it. If you commit all of your points into might, you will be unable to equip future gear that might have a high knowledge requirement. Now, this is not to say that you should spread your attribute points evenly. Just keep in mind the type of character you want to create and plan ahead. If you like casting spells, knowledge is literally power. If you like hitting things with a stick, go for might. Now, if you have any experience with ARPGs or even classic role-playing game systems like Dungeons & Dragons, you will have no trouble understanding Titan Quest II's character development. After attributes comes mastery. The Titan Quest II playtest includes 3 masteries for us to try: Earth, Storm, and Warfare. And here is where replayability comes in, because you must commit to 2 of these masteries. For my first playthrough, I selected Earth and Warfare. As your character levels up, you earn points you can apply to active and passive mastery abilities. Passive mastery abilities, once purchased, are always in effect, a permanent increase to energy regeneration, for example. Now, energy is a resource consumed to use the active mastery abilities. Things like this fissure attack from the Earth Tree, which starts out as a simple single-line attack, but can be upgraded to create a fan of fissures full of fire. Now here's the thing. You can respec your mastery abilities for a nominal gold fee at any time. All that trash loot you keep leaving behind, that's a respec resource. Pick that stuff up, because while your character does have a relatively small inventory capacity that needs to be managed with this simple Tetris interface, they are also blessed by the gods and can open a personal portal anytime to travel back to the nearest town to sell that gear to a vendor in exchange for gold, which you can then use to purchase better gear. I always found something worth buying. Or to respec your mastery abilities to try new things. And then you just portal back to where you were. Speaking of portals, Titan Quest II has no penalty for death. Again, you are blessed by the gods. When you die, you return to the nearest rebirth portal. Immediately click on that rebirth portal to open the map, select the icon corresponding to the site of your untimely demise, and you are warped right back into the action with the speed of Hermes to exact your vengeance. All of these game mechanics I've been talking about, ability respecs, personal portals, excessive amounts of loot, death forgiveness, encourage experimentation. Now with that in mind, I would suggest this one tip for the playtest while your character is relatively low level. Commit to a mastery ability. When I first started, I wanted to try a little bit of everything, so I put a couple points into Fissure, and a couple into Magma, a couple points into Heavy Attack, this, that, and the other thing, creating for myself a jack-of-all-trades, master-of-none problem. I could not kill anything fast enough and found myself at rebirth portals more often than I want to admit. And when I reached the playtest's final boss fight, that griffin cleaned my clock. It wasn't until I respect and put most, if not all, of my points into making Fissure as powerful as I could that I had any success in defeating the griffin. Now, granted, some of my problem could have been chalked up to skill issue, but if you're having the same experience I am, try focusing on one ability and see if that helps. And you know what else would have helped? A partner. For those of us who played Titan Quest I with a friend, online co-op is confirmed for Titan Quest II, but it is not a part of this playtest, so we will have to wait a little longer to team up against the Goddess of Retribution. Titan Quest I was developed using a proprietary game engine. Grimlore Games, the developers of Titan Quest II, have switched to Unreal Engine 5. Now, some players have expressed concern about the use of UE5, citing subpar frame rate, among other performance issues. Personally, I did not notice anything that detracted from my enjoyment of the experience. I did encounter a couple of bugs, though. In the first incident, I was unable to progress the story because I had to initiate a conversation with your character's mentor, but I had to be standing in a very specific place to do so, something I did not have to do with any other NPC encounter before or after, including her. Another bug encountered after I had completed the playtest, I returned to the main menu to start a new game. Doing so loaded the end of my existing game. At first I thought I had accidentally clicked load game, so I backed out to the main menu and selected start new game, only for the issue to repeat. And this happened twice. I had to delete my existing character to start a new game. Now it's important to keep in mind that this is a playtest of a game still in development, so hopefully most of these issues that we are experiencing will be ironed out before the final release. That is the purpose of a playtest, after all. And that wraps up my impressions of the Titan Quest II playtest. I had a great time. I am excited to do a second playtest so I can try out the Storm Mastery and see what kind of lightning strikes I can inflict. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider dropping a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and share your Titan Quest II tips in the comments section below. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great day or enjoying whatever it is you are playing, and we'll see you next time.
Not bad. You've been practicing.
No games.